Shamim has recently had one of the most awful experiences. Recently got divorced. How does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like there's some kind of permanence to it because that's something that's happened and it can't unhappen, and
Yeah.
it's now a label.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, yeah, it's mixed emotions, sort of guilt and was it me? Did I do something?
What does it seem like those feelings are telling you?
Something wrong with me. That, I made a mistake, and that mistake has had an impact on lots of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that it was something that I did and that maybe I could have done something different.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also feel at times quite bitter, and I think, am I now a bitter person?
Mm-hmm.
So changed as a result of it, and is that now the new sort of version of me?
The worst thing that can ever happen to you is a thought. The best thing that can ever happen to you is a thought. This was the exact thing I taught my nieces, who were little. It was the exact thing I taught them after their mother passed away. The worst thing that can ever happen to you is a thought. And I was like, you're going to have some really negative thoughts, and they're going to be hurtful. But that's the worst thing that can ever happen. Our whole lives, we have been operating as though guilt, sadness, anger, those things are telling us that the thought that caused them was really, really important. We've been operating as though guilt means I did something wrong. You're like, yeah, but it does. Like sadness means I don't know what. My life situation, Allah is testing me and my life situation is terrible. We've been acting like anger means they did something wrong. A feeling of guilt just means you've got guilty thinking. A feeling of sadness just means you've got sad thinking. A feeling of anger just means I have angry thinking right now. A feeling of happiness just means I've got happy thinking.
So, I mean, it's quite a big change, isn't it, when you get divorced and you change your circumstances, your home environment, all of that.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to be rational and to sort of sit and contemplate what you're thinking and what you're feeling. You just kind of react almost without thinking, but possibly on a subconscious level, as you were saying. But it doesn't feel like that. You just react. So, but just with anything, there's a maximal level of anxiety you can reach before it does just disappear if you give it long enough. And I think the same could be said with lots of feelings. It's not sustainable to be angry indefinitely. It takes a lot of energy, and it impinges on other things. So part of realizing is the time, but equally, without having that concept that the thoughts are causing the feelings, then it could just go on indefinitely.
That is absolute bakwas. You think it hurts any less 2 years later after the person that you love passes away? I could go there in a second right now. In fact, you know what? It was my sister's birthday on Wednesday, just gone. She would have been 41. She has 3 beautiful children who don't have a mother. See how quick that was? I could have gone there right then. It's like, it's got nothing to do with time. Time is an illusion. The future and past only exist as thought in this moment. But because we say, well, in time, I'll get over it, it gives us a little out. That way we don't have to let go of everything right now in this moment? Thought is a formless energy or something. Consciousness is even more formless. Thought didn't have form in the first place, but consciousness, totally formless. The mind is not a thing. It's not a thought. It's a psychic force that acts on thought to generate your experience of life. Whatever the hell that means. But that is literally what your mind is. But we find it incredibly difficult to talk about the formless. How can you talk about something that you can't touch or feel or, That's thought. So when we start trying to describe our thoughts, when we start trying to describe how I'm going to let go, the moment we start talking about our mind or thoughts, notice how we start using material world metaphors. You have been operating as though your mind is something it's not. You've been operating as though feelings do something they don't. You've been operating as though thought does something that it doesn't. Like your whole life, you've probably thought that there's positive thoughts and negative thoughts, and we want more of the positive ones and we want less of the negative ones, right? That is not the Furqan. That is not the criteria between your ego and your highest self. The criteria isn't positive thoughts versus negative thoughts. The criteria is, does it look to you like your thought is causing what you're feeling, or does it look to you like something in the world is causing what you're feeling? That's the Furqan. Because I can have a negative thought that doesn't come from ego. I'm never going to see my sister again in this world. Fact. In the world of positive psychology, that's a negative thought. Fact. I don't care if a thought is positive or negative. I care if it's coming from ego or not. I care if it's coming from the nafs or not. I care if it is coming from a state of dhikr and ihsan or not.